For a while now, Pinia has been the default state management library for Vue applications. And although we had Vuex, and still do by the way, there was this growing need of doing things different and better than what Vuex had to offer. And so, the Vue.js team gave us Pinia. But just like Vuex, a lot of people are growing tired of using Pinia and having to put up with some of its cons, which has led to the development of Vaxee, a state management library for Vue made by one guy at the moment, Lestri, that hopes to tackle the cons of Pinia and give us a fresh approach to state management in a Vue application. To create a store, import create store from Vaxee. Now you want to export this just like you would in a Pinia app, in a Pinia setup, by the way. Create store. Let me go ahead and remove this. Create store. And here you want to pass the name, and after that you want to pass a function just like you would in a Pinia app, in a Pinia setup. So let's just call this count, and let's pass an anonymous function. So how do we declare a state? To declare state, we have to grab it from the function that we're passing to create store. So here we grab state, and we can come here to our app and just create const count equals state, and we can pass this whatever we want to pass, but for this it will be just 0. So after this, we want to declare a computed, so we want to multiply. We need to grab the getter from the function here, so we can say const multiplied equals a getter, which takes a function, by the way, that value multiplied by 2, or whatever you want to multiply it by. So these under the hood, state and getter, use refs and computed. And the reason why there is a wrapper is because it allows for control. Now, after we've declared our states, we want to return variables. We can go ahead and return this so it can be used in our app. So to use the store you've just created, go to the page or component where you would like to use it, and just like in Pinia, you import your store. But here you have access to the structuring, and so you can import count and the multiply that we declared, and we can log that to the console by accessing the value. But wait, there's more. There's no need for store to ref. So in Pinia, you would normally write store to ref like this. So store to ref. But here you don't have to write that. It is automatically handled for you by Vaxee. Now, maybe you don't want to write it like this. Maybe you want to have access to the value notation as in objects. So you could clear this, and just have this as count store equals use count. And just like in any app, you could have it as count store dot count, and you have access to it. So you can have count store dot multiplied. You have access to that as well. So you don't have to write that out. And you also have to write dot value, by the way. I'm looking to make a full tutorial about how to use it. So before we go, I would like to point out one of the very important features of Vaxee, which is the query function. Let me go ahead and go to the documentation, guys. So if we come here to the documentation, we can see query here. Vaxee provides a query function to fetch data and store it in the store. Also, query provides a way to cache the data and several options to enhance the data fetching process. So basically, you could have query functions inside of your app like this, and Vaxee handles the caching and some of other cool stuff like that. Maybe a button, maybe you want to abort the operation on success, on error. You can have all of this work in your app, so you can execute manually and stuff, a bunch of stuff that we'll get to later when I go full into the tutorial. But this is just the first look, guys. Let me know what you think about Vaxee, and maybe it has a chance against Pinia.